So, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome. It's Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings. He's the guy that's pointing at me and stuff. And look, we're going to be with you for, I don't know, man. We're going to get started talking about the transfer portal and Arch Manning last night in the Citrus Bowl. We've got playoff games literally taking place as we talk, as Oregon slowly but surely kind of choking Texas Tech out. A lot of stuff to get into. Do us a solid, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to jump into the specs chat. We do love it when you do that. And if this is delayed and you're not watching this live, jump into the comments section. Again, a lot of topics to get into today, Chad, the least of which it won't be the Citrus Bowl and what happened last night in Florida, because that actually was a fun game with a lot of interesting little storylines to talk about. But we forge ahead. How about we start off with a little bit of Portal Combat music?
Oh, that's always a good thing because, yeah, we can get to stuff from last night, but I want to hear your update on Cam Coleman. But first, I want to hear this.
Round one, fight! Get over here!
No, it puts me in the New Year's portal mood.
It really does. Makes me feel like having an extra New Year's Eve party. All right. Portal opens tomorrow as we're recording this on Thursday, New Year's Day. What are you hearing about Cam Coleman?
Well, it's funny. I was trying to think about like where to begin, and I guess at the end of the day, you start with the number one song in America at the time of the show. I'm hearing the reason why I seemed a little bit caught off guard, because I was going to preface all of this with everybody that you talk to somewhat acknowledges this is how we feel based on what we're hearing. But a lot of these guys have been through this before, right? It's kind of the Barry and Brown example, where for 3 years, a guy told you something was going to happen. His agent told you something was going to happen. Then it doesn't happen. And then you kind of look like a dick because you built your plans and your strategies around the things that you thought and were told were going to happen. But sometimes like the clock strikes midnight and things go a little bit haywire. So I want to preface everything with that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Cam Coleman, I hear a lot of confidence on the Texas side. I've not once had that poo-pooed at all. And there's been a lot of Texas and Texas A&M conversation, and I think that Texas A&M is probably the prohibitive favorite going into this.
Stop right there a sec. Anybody else involved that you're hearing besides Texas and Texas A&M?
Not as like they're one of the teams to watch out for.
Okay.
Everybody's calling. And I get the sense that the price of doing business has exceeded the $2 million mark. Surprise.
Yeah. You had talked about 2. So you're saying now it's gone to 2 and Cam is sat back. Let him know, hey, y'all talk about it. And you're saying it's now, where are we? Are we at 2-2? 2-3?
I don't want to get into the specific numbers. I will just say I think we're talking about Texas being as aggressive in trying to bring a player to their side as probably they've ever been in the history of the program.
Yeah. Certainly in the portal.
I have tried not to project the level of confidence that I've seen behind the scenes a little bit, simply because I've done that before. That's how I got to 85%.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, hey, I work in the Allen Independent School District, and I heard about a phone call where his dad is calling a press conference to announce that he's decommitting from Texas A&M. I'm letting you know. And then, like, the next day, hey, what happened to that whole press conference thing you were telling me about? I don't know, coach, and the dad talked, and I don't know. Oh, well, one of those things that would have been helpful yesterday. I think this Cam Coleman thing is going to be over pretty quickly. You and I will do a show tomorrow. It's possible, donezo, by the time you and I go on at noon.
Yeah, it feels like it could get fast. We said that. It feels like, I mean, to me, by like 10 o'clock at night on Sunday for sure, Catch, I think we're going to have a ton of guys gone.
I had someone today convey a lot of confidence in Texas getting Cam Coleman. I shared the confidence level in team's chat, and I think everybody was like, oh.
Yeah.
But like I have not publicly gone forward with a whole lot of that projected confidence because I am not tomorrow going to have that kid sign with A&M and then something that felt like something on Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning feels like something completely different a few hours later. All of this stuff feels fluid. All of this stuff is constant negotiations, and will anybody offer more? And what happens if somebody offers more? So this is still something being worked on. But I think if I'm a Texas fan and I'm listening to me right now and I'm like, come on, Catch, say something that matters. Texas is still in it. Nobody has said, I don't think it's going to happen. Not at any point in the last week, which I think is really interesting because I wonder if like that interest level in Cam Coleman was slow played a little bit in the weeks leading up to this week, judging by how aggressive it sounds like they are behind the scenes. I think there's a whole lot of like, we just have to wait and see like what reality looks like when reality reveals itself versus we live in this portal world where, look, man, a lot of people will put their heads on pillows tonight thinking that one thing might happen and then something crazy might happen and then Texas will have to adjust. So Texas feels good with Cam Coleman. If there's literally anything there to update while we're doing the rest of the show, I'll let you know. Jaden Baugh, running back, Florida. I think there's confidence level that's high there. Maybe the difference between Baugh and the other situation with Coleman at wide receiver was where there's no real obvious replacement for Cam Coleman. If he goes to Texas A&M, there's no Cam Coleman Jr.
Yeah.
There are three super badass running backs that may eventually all end up in the portal, one of which occurred today. Isaac Brown out of Louisville. This guy's got over 2,000 yards in the last couple of seasons. In 6 of the 9 games in which he went for over 100 yards, he only played 9 this year. The guy's just ridiculous in terms of what he does with how little volume that he gets. It's literally not crazy to see him average 15 yards a carry in a game or 10 yards a carry in a game. And you look at 8 yards a carry in a game and you go, what's wrong with that guy? Like, this is a super productive guy, kind of a bowling ball type, but I know that Texas really likes him. So I think that there are options for Texas at running back. I think Ball is option A. Again, what's happening there? It seems like on the Florida side of things, there's growing confidence that they might keep Ball at Florida.
Yeah. To be technical, Catch, he has not. There's been no report he's actually going into the portal.
Correct.
Just like Lacey, there's been no actual report on either one of those guys.
The first of the 3 shoes that could drop today when Isaac Brown was, I don't even know if he formally announced as much as it was announced that he is going to enter the portal. That was expected. I think he's a guy that he is the guy that for the last few weeks I've said the obvious one is Jaden Baugh, and he is the obvious one.
Yeah, I'll throw this up from Trey since he's asking about Isaac Brown, as long as you're getting to it.
But what do we got? I have not heard that anything is done. I just continue to hear that Texas feels good about what's going to happen for them at the running back position. I think that there's been conversation behind the scenes because a lot of these guys, even if they haven't announced what they're going to do, will have indicated intentions behind the scenes with agents or handlers or whatever it is that every kid is individually doing. There's an anticipation that Kawan Lacey from Ole Miss will eventually enter the portal. There's also, depending on who you talk to there's some people that think, oh, well, he's guaranteed to go to LSU. Well, Harlem Berry is staying at LSU. We're still waiting, I think, on Caden Durham and what happens there. Mm-hmm. Harlem Berry coming back doesn't automatically scream. Maybe it does. I don't know. Like, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Kawan Lacey situation. I get the sense that, if Texas didn't get their first couple of guys, as crazy as it sounds, I think there's potentially a Kawan Lacey conversation to be had. But I think there's still a little bit of a sit and wait and see. As you said, Jaden Ball's not in the portal yet. Right. So whatever, everybody is leery of the Barry and Brown. It will forever be, I think, the portal red herring, right? Where it's like, you think something's going to happen. And I know I keep bringing it up, but it's the best example of things that you hear from players and agents behind the scenes just don't always materialize. And I think if you've done this, like the people at Texas have done now for a number of years, they've been bitten enough times where it's like, well, I'm not going to do that thing where I blindly go in and get bitten. If I'm going to get bitten, I'm going to be wide-eyed bitten. I wouldn't be surprised if when we do the show tomorrow, there's a number of people who have announced that they're playing or committing to Texas. I think tomorrow's going to be a really action-packed day while we're focused on Cam Coleman, while we're talking about the running back position, while offensive line will be a position that everybody will, I think stress about. Florida edge Jaden Woods, who's probably a top 5 player in the portal right now. Was a freshman last year for Florida. He's a guy that Texas is showing interest in. And I've even seen on Florida boards today that it seems like Texas has put up shop in Gainesville. And there's a lot of guys on that Florida side that.
Right. And obviously the running back coach connection makes it feel a little more connected.
So there's a lot happening. It is, I think, every bit as I think we hyped it up for the last week as soon as the season ends, we go to that portal eve, and that might just take over the discourse, and it's what's happened.
Yeah. All right. I see those super chats. Catch, we need to get a little breaking news to the people on behalf of all Longhorn fans. I've been asked to keep track of the Texas teams in the CFP. Catch, at this moment, after a recent interception, those teams are now a combined carry the 3 points. It's 3. That's it. Randy Bond has 3 points for the Aggies, and between the rest of his team and the entire Texas Tech team, there have been no points scored. Texas Tech is getting beaten 13-0 as we speak right now. It's early fourth quarter. Just thought we'd get everybody.
I have more breaking news.
Breaking news.
According to Hayes Fawcett of On 3.
Yes?
Jonte Cook back in the portal.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Come on, Jonte. You got to find it.
Bring it full circle, Jonte.
You got to find it, Jonte. I don't even care where it is at this point. Just go find it somewhere. We're praying it's in some Power 5 so we can peek in on you.
Well,
I still believe in you, Jonte.
I think he'll have some options, but that happened.
Yeah, I'm still the silent president of the fan club, Jonte. I still have the coffee maker and some cookies left. If you got a couple more good outings left in you. Oh my God. Speaking of drinking, let's get a salute to that Texas Tech offense. Cheers from Deep Eddy Vodka and the tasting room. If you want to get out and drink, get out to the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room. Go have yourself a good time in 2026. Get some Crimson Creek Smokehouse barbecue. Have one of these great cocktails. They've got awesome martinis as well, making up so much good stuff. Bring the martini glasses and those mason jars back for your discounted refill if you like, or just take them home as a collectible. You can do that too. Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. And of course, thanks to Specs. If you need to either order it on the app or head over to your Specs and get stocked up because, you drank a lot last night, New Year's Eve. Get over to your local Specs. Thanks to Specs for bringing us the chat each and every show. And we do have a couple of super chats. Let's go here, Catch, reaching back to the game a tad. Our guy ATX Bates, $4.99. Was there anything in the game that confirmed Sark was babysitting PK? It didn't seem like the offense was fluid, efficient, and adjusting in-game better. Sorry, it did seem like the offense was fluid, efficient, and adjusting in-game better. Catch, did you think at all about PK and babysitting last night?
You know what I thought? You know what helped Sarkisian call the offense better than PK not being around anymore?
What's that?
Arch Manning playing his best game as a college player.
That always helps.
If we're just going to keep it 100,
Yeah.
He was so good last night. That it really was a performance. I think when it'll be interesting to see the way the playoffs go. We haven't seen a lot of dazzling offensive performances in the playoffs so far. Haven't really seen a lot of good games. I wonder if when the playoffs are over, will Manning have this singular individual performance of the bowl games that people will remember going into the offseason? Maybe not. Maybe it's not even a playoff game. So, but because it was Arch, because it was so highlighty, and because of, I think the numbers will be good for that from a rating standpoint. I wonder. I mean, it could just as easily by tomorrow, it could be a forgotten performance in the nexus of college football and what we're talking about and thinking about. But it was that good of a performance that, there were people that were immediately saying, well, that's it. He's going to be the Heisman favorite. And
right.
There's a part of me that's like, can we not do that? Can we? He's going to be in the mix. But let's not do the thing where we make a big like you could watch last night, Chad, and no, he's going to be in the mix. He's really good. I thought the performance is a little bit like Vince in 2004, and that when it was over with, you really didn't have to actually convince people that it was good. And I think maybe that's the best thing that you can say. It was so good last night that I think even OU fans or A&M fans or doubters of Arch Manning, it was a bad night to be kind of anti-Arch, like, oh, he's only out there because of his last name. If you watched the game last night and you were walking around saying, he's not even that good, he's 5-star. They only did that because if you watch the game as objectively as possible, you saw an immensely talented guy that did a lot of really talented guy things last night. And so I think that performance may have been the kind of thing that if Texas gets Cam Coleman, I think the smart money might be on Ball and Coleman, or Ball and not Coleman, and they're going to get one of these running backs. But there's a world out there where they go get Cam Coleman and let's say, Isaac Brown. It may be that a performance like that is the nudge they needed. For instance, I heard a detail about something that was going on with the pursuit of Coleman that indicated that there's an extra sense of urgency felt today that maybe wasn't there 24 hours ago. And it's a funny thing. I really do think the sense of, Jesus Christ, we've got to get this guy some badasses to play with. I think it was the biggest advertisement for, if you could just give that guy a wide receiver one, a true wide receiver one, holy cow, like how much grease are you cooking with?
Got some super chats to get to. I totally agree with you, Catch, though. It was fun on a rewatch, too. I woke up this morning like ready to rewatch the game, and I did. It was fun to rewatch, and I completely agree with you. We said going in, this was about Arch in a huge way, and what do you have? I kept saying it. Wednesday is about what you have. Friday is about what you can get. And by looking at what you have, if you don't know what you need to go get, I cannot help you. I can't. You have to get him a wide receiver one and turn to anybody in your receiver room that gets bitchy about it and say, fellas, you were not good enough for him. Stop it. Stop whatever you're about to say, because you all failed him on Wednesday night. He ended up with a bloody mouth, and he's screaming and hollering and finally showed some fire because you guys failed him. Stop it. Every one of you did. Don't talk to me like there's a wide receiver one in this room. There's not. We got to go get one. That's what needs to happen.
Chad, did you go back to the moment where one of the real damning things about the game last night is it felt like every time Arch was like, all right, guys, I got this. Let's do this. The special teams would commit a penalty or give up a return, or the ball would be on the other side of the 50 in the blink of an eye. After he gave him the lead in the fourth quarter and the special teams immediately like dicked away field position, there's a moment where it seems like he says, I don't effing care anymore. And I think he was talking about, I don't care what the defense and the special teams do anymore. I don't care. Y'all do it. We're going to get the ball back and we're going to score. And you know what? That's literally what they did the rest of the night. They turned into a unit that closed out that game right at the moment where it seemed like there was a moment where Arch visibly kind of admitted that previously this has been bothering him.
Yeah.
And he reached a moment where he was like, screw it, I got this. And
the game was perfect for Arch. There were 3 lip reading situations, Catch. One, I have no clue what he said. One, I think I know what he said. And one to you're talking about, I still can't figure it out. But it was something along those lines.
It was
on the kickoff when I swear it looked like he said, like, what is he effing thinking or something like that. And then the one you're talking about, I've rewatched it 10 times. Can't figure out exactly what it is, but it is some version of like, well, I'm just going to have to something, right?
Yes.
But no, there was good fire to him. They caught a little bit of him getting on receivers on the sideline. The 2-play sequence where Livingston and Wingo both let him down, and then the bad snap. Like there was some opportunities. I mean, with 11 minutes to go in the game, they're trailing. Like in rewatching, I had to remind myself of that. They're not leading the game early in the fourth quarter, and he just finds a way. And the fact that it was him running the ball in a lot of situations, in addition to some great throws. I mean, there's big moments. There was little key moments. He got away with a delay of game just barely on that 4th and 2. The official didn't see it, but Arch gets the first down. That's the one where he got banged up and came up with the bloody lip. Like it just added to the legend. And by the end of the night, he gets a comfy win. He didn't even have to go out there to down the ball at the end. How great was that? 14-point lead. He's smiling on the sideline, and Sark sends Caldwell out for one play just to take that last snap. It was fantastic. Fantastic. All right, we're getting some super chats in here. I got that last one marked. This is just some general love. UT for life. Just giving number 16 a little love from last night. He certainly deserves it. We also got this love, Catch, for somebody else who had a good game. CC6 fan club president says, my guy had a good game. Almost 150 before the holding penalties. He looks healthy finally. And a big hook 'em emoji. Christian Clark did look good in the game last night, Catch. And I don't know whose fault it is that it didn't happen before that.
It's probably not going to matter because they're still probably going to go into the portal and get somebody that will be the de facto RB1, paid to be the RB1, the resume that suggests they should be the RB1. But Christian Clark, look, you know what it did? It really, and this is not a bad thing, and I don't mean this as faint praise. He really takes a little bit of the pressure off of Derek Cooper. Because I can't stress enough that it was a very unusual when Jamal Charles came in 2005 and was playing against Ohio State in the Horseshoe that early as a true freshman. It was kind of like, whoa, then. It's still like that. It would still be like that. It was when Texas tried to use CJ Baxter in that role against Texas, where it was, wow, they're going for it with this guy. It's in a lot of pressure. When that guy doesn't deliver, he gets whispers, he gets questions. And so I like that Christian Clark was so good that if you tell me right now that next year he goes in as the RB2 behind whoever this new RB1 is going to be, and that Derek Cooper is RB3, my reaction is not, what's up with Derek Cooper? My reaction is, Texas pretty loaded at running back all of a sudden. That, what Clark, I think, proved last night, he can be a very good player at this level in those types of games. Can he do it consistently? Like, that's what we don't know.
Right. And you gotta be careful getting too, I think, overcooked on a bowl performance because there's such a long time till the season. But I certainly agree with you. It doesn't change your portal discussion. It just changes, okay, you got something there moving forward, but we're going to have to see how it all plays out in 2026. But I like the way he looked. I like the way some of the plays were designed. I like some of the I keep saying this team looks so much better in the pistol than they look in that other formation. They ran some of that last night. It looked deliberate last night. And Clark had a couple nice runs. The run out to the right where he kind of fell down, turned around, spun, threw his hand on the ground, got a little extra yardage. There was some good stuff there. So I'm really interested to see what he can do in 26. And it's a good thing you got it, Catch, because we all know nobody's coming back. right?
Well,
Like everybody's gone from 25. Clark had to show you something last night. That was a nice check mark in addition to the art stuff.
I think his prize picks number going into the game was 39.
Wow.
So, the expectations were low. And I think there's a world out there where we begin the show. There's an alternative universe out there where Texas didn't have a running back last night do anything. And the conversation today, I think one of the things that happened with Clark, he was so good last night that it made going to get Cam Coleman feel like the most important thing that has to happen.
Yeah, that switch in you're right. That is a compliment to him.
I don't think it changed anything behind the scenes. I don't think anybody woke up today and went, hey, should we call Jordan Ball's agent or Jaden Ball's agent and tell him that we're just going to not do it? Should we pass? Like, I don't think that happened. But I think mentally the public, I can't remember who said it, but there was a tweet last night that called him, God, it might have been like a writer for Hook'em 24/7 or something like that. I can't remember. But I saw a headline that called Christian Clark the new face of the Texas running game. And I was oh.
Take a breath.
Well, and look, for tonight, last night, that was exactly right. Is he the new face moving forward? Because of last night, I don't completely discount the idea that there's a world out there where eventually that happens. He looked really good.
Yeah. The other point that Jason Sukumel made in the post game, I hadn't even thought of, but if Jabbar Jalouk was actually coaching with this team and had any impact on anything we saw, maybe that's a little, I mean, again, don't get too excited, but like, okay, if you made that move and you get this out of Christian Clark, maybe Jalouk had a little to do with it. I don't know.
It also is the tail end of an offensive line combination that played its best football in the final 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Once Cole Hudson came back and they were able to get him in at guard, this not a perfect group. Jesus. DJ Campbell had some moments last night that just were mystifying.
They went to the fourth quarter. Each team had 9 penalties into the fourth quarter. That was crazy, man.
But that group of 5 has whatever the best version of the Texas offensive line is. It's been that for the last few weeks. We saw a continuation of that. Ironically, the best 2 individual run game performances of the season for the Longhorns, 100 plus yards, come with Wisner against A&M and Clark last night against Michigan. So 2 really good opponents. I mean, that is nothing to sneeze at to go, we only got 2 100. It wasn't like Sam Houston and a slug were the games. Those are 2 good teams, good defenses.
And don't forget the Arch Manning 150 plus as well.
We need to be thinking about when we do a show on Monday that everything that we think about Texas football going into 2026 is somewhat reshaped because, well, we know how good Arch was and we know how good Christian Clark was. We've talked a lot about that, but like at wide receiver, not that there weren't some positive things that happened.
Oh God.
But was there anybody last night that looked like, by God, they absolutely need to be on the field with Arch Manning?
The great news, not great news. The decent news at receiver catch would be Wingo showed you some moments. Obviously, there was the big drop, but Wingo showed you some nice moments on a couple big plays. But then also, I thought the Lockett touchdown did give you something. Again, it's a little bit, it's what do you got? What do you got that you can take to 2026? You're going to need to push the hell out of Lockett, French, McCutcheon. What the hell is Michael Terry for this team other than a guy in the backfield that doesn't look like he should be in the backfield? So
I would shed some of that money and just go into the portal and get somebody who's actually good.
Oh, yeah, I might do that too. But I'm saying would the Lockett moment last night, the touchdown, whatever else it was, but would that touchdown be enough for you to go, all right, Khalid, we're going to give it a shot in 26? Or would you be moving on?
His problem, and the problem that Texas has, because there's a world out there where he just gets what Jonte Cook had, which is some guys clear out. It's not crystal clear who even the starters would be. And because of his rep and because of what they committed to him to get him in, we would just say things like, well, Khalid Lockett will probably be a starter next year. But what we actually know about this wide receiver unit is that unless something changes, 3 of the top 4 guys that they played with this season will be back. 3 of the guys that played in the bowl game, Ryan Wingo,
Parker
right. Livingston, and then Emmett Mosley.
Yeah.
That group is a good 3. They're all about one role ahead of where they need to be. Wingo's being asked to be a 1. He needs to be a 2. Emmett Mosley feels like a 3. He needs to be a 3. Parker's probably a 4 and being asked to be a 3. They all are good enough to play. They're all good enough to be good players on good teams. But Texas doesn't have a 1. And the guys that they counted on all season long aren't lining up at wide receiver and beating Georgia or Ohio State. Although maybe Ohio State last night. I don't know. But so far, we've seen Texas play that game twice, and they've not had the players on offense. And maybe it's different now. But I don't know. Last night, there were at least 5 drops last night. They weren't freshmen making drops either, although Dalen McCutcheon did have 1, and I didn't think he was remotely good enough. I mean, if you go get Cam Coleman and you think he's not a slot receiver, and he hasn't been, you got to go get somebody to play in the slot because Dalen McCutcheon is nowhere near good enough to be on the field in a game that matters right now.
Yeah, that's Mosley, right? Mosley's your slot guy.
No, Mosley plays on the outside with Livingston and Wingo. They've got their top 3 guys are all outside guys. Okay. McCutcheon replaces DeAndre Moore, who was the slot guy, and he didn't do a good job last night. He was just a guy. And that's not to say, because I'll hear people say, he's a true freshman, you're being too hard on him. I'm not saying he's never going to be good. I'm saying that going into last night, there was some suspicion of could Dalen McCutcheon be the starting slot wide receiver next year? And if you're trying to win a national championship, you have to upgrade that position. You have to upgrade it from DeAndre Moore, who wasn't quite good enough, even though he's a really good player. And it's clear after watching last night, well, DeAndre Moore is a lot better right now than McCutcheon is. And if McCutcheon makes a massive amount of progress and step forward and just takes that job by the horn in the offseason, then bravo. But right now, you got to make decisions on next year right now. And there's definitely wasn't, it's not even remote. Like, it's not even a conversation. It is, if somebody were to say, if someone sent a super chat and said, do you think Dalen McCutcheon did enough to be the slot receiver next year? I'm going to give you one of those like rolling eye faces.
Fair enough.
I just am.
Speaking of super chats, we do have a couple to get to after I show you Hijack Poker, hijackpoker.com, the online version of the Texas Card House. Scan that QR code, put it on any device you want, get that $20 bonus when you get signed up. Hijackpoker.com. Also, don't forget about the 6 Texas Card House locations. We were hanging at the Austin location once again for that watch party with Texas and Michigan, 183 and Anderson Mill. If you haven't checked that location out, right there by the aquarium in Austin, do that. The other locations are down there for you. Mention Orange Bloods when you check in, and you get that free club membership for a month and 2 hours of free poker play. All right, we had some other super chats. I think $5 is the highest I saw at this point. Xavier, $5. Hey, fellas, are you hearing anything about getting interior O-line out of the portal? Good question, Xavier. We started with skill stuff. Catch, what about the big uglies?
I'm just not hearing any names. I'm hearing that there's a possibility that you might need 2 hands to count all of the guys that, let's say, by the weekend could be in-house. But I haven't heard anything specific on the offensive line. Everybody knows that it's a need. Again, sometimes I think it's about what someone doesn't say or what you're not hearing versus what you are. I mean, it just depends, right? We tell ourselves whatever we think we need to tell ourselves to make ourselves feel comfortable. But I have not had anybody say, man, there just aren't any offensive linemen that we can find. I just haven't. Okay. And, man, the way this thing works, if it was about to be a massive disappointment on that big of a need, I just think there would be some whispers of, hey, psst. We're hearing from Texas that there's no, because we heard that last year. You hear Emmanuel Pregnon, that guy can play for us. Other guys, I don't know if that actually is an upgrade over what we have. Whether or not we think that made any sense or not, that's what we heard. That's what they said. Nobody is saying that now. I guess this would be a bad sign. If you start to hear in the next 24 to 48 hours, I hear they think Nate Kibble could be the starter next year.
That you're right. Yes. I think they feel good about every guy they've got to develop.
No, like Daniel Cruz, they think they could get him on if you start hearing a rash of so-and-so look good in bowl workouts and they think he's the guy, then it went sideways.
But to be fair, Catch, what you're saying is this year you have yet to start. You're not hearing a specific name like you were hearing Pregnon's name this time last year.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think I literally in the middle of the show, Chad, I posted the debut of the Orange Bloods top 100 rankings in the portal.
Oh, that's exciting. I want to go see that.
I've got the best offensive lineman that's in the portal right now is a kid out of LSU, Carius Kern.
Mm-hmm.
Young guy, multiple seasons of eligibility remaining, has experience at the high SEC level. LSU certainly didn't want to see him go.
Yep.
But I haven't heard, shh. Everybody who has an offensive line need will be in for that guy. And I haven't heard anything bad. And I think we know who the guys are to look out for. There aren't a lot of big names. There are some. But that is a position that I know Texas will have been. There are so many more names because this top 100 list will be different by tonight. It'll be different by tomorrow, right? Every time an Isaac Brown enters the portal, it does change the rankings immediately. Isaac Brown for me, number 2 in my top 100 rankings. By the way, Chad, I tried to think about how should I label these guys? And what I decided to do was to create tiers where my tier 1 is All-America, possible first-round draft pick, super impact.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of those guys, his name is Cam Coleman.
Okay.
Anybody that gets their hands on that guy, they cannot celebrate enough. It's a big deal.
Okay.
My next tier, it would be the equivalent of a high 4-star in high school football recruiting. These are guys that I think when you sign them, you're getting all conference level, high impact potential play from.
So tier 2.
Tier 2. There's a group of guys in tier 2 where there's only one so far in tier 2. But Isaac Brown, top of the tier 2 list, number 2 overall for me. And that just happened in the last couple of hours. He obviously wasn't on the list at 9 a.m. this morning.
If Ball and Lacey jump in there, tier 2?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And honestly, Lacey is an All-American this year. So he may go into tier 1. But yeah, we're talking about guys that'll be in the top 5 overall in the rankings, I think. When I'm curious to see where this thing goes. Who else debuts? I will put this in the war room on orangebloods.com later tonight, but I know that there are guys still playing the playoffs that the Longhorns will have an interest in. I don't necessarily know who those guys are, but it doesn't, I don't think it's rocket science on there. I will be stunned if not one guy because Georgia's going to have some guys go into the portal once the playoffs are over.
Yes.
They just are. Just like Texas has some guys going to the portal. Not all of them are necessarily guys that they wanted to lose. You're telling me there's not one guy on that Georgia defense that's going to portal out that Will Muschamp will have zero interest in?
Right. Georgia and Ole Miss.
Definitely.
Whoever loses.
Georgia is the one. They're going to be – I just think there are rosters – there will be an interest in Alabama players. I'm still not convinced that if something were to happen to Cam Coleman, keep an eye on Ryan Williams at Alabama. He can't be happy. They can't be happy. He's still a guy that as a true freshman a year ago was the best player on the field against Georgia. So there's still a lot of things that I think can still happen. What we see is not necessarily what we're going to get when the portal opens up tomorrow, which is part of what's exciting. The Isaac Brown thing hit, and it was like, oh, yeah, finally, we're starting on the eve of the eve. We're kind of starting to get some of the names that we've heard whispered behind the scenes would enter. Jaden Ball is a real good example of a guy there have been a lot of whispers about. I think there are some expectations that he's going to enter the portal. Now we have to see if he actually does it.
All right, we got some super chats here. Let's go to this one because it does involve Coleman a bit. $5 from KD. If Texas gets Coleman, will it cost them at other big needs? O-line, linebacker, running back, etc., or retaining guys? Is there actual money in NIL/revenue Texas can't go over?
I haven't heard that yet. I think you're asking the right question.
Yeah.
I've been told Texas will have the money to do what it needs to do. I don't know what they think that means, right? Yeah. And if at the end of this, a bunch of needs don't get filled with badass players, and it looks like they tried to Costco this thing, then we'll say maybe they didn't have enough money to do the things that they needed to do. I'm just telling you that before Cam Coleman does anything, before Jaden Ball or Isaac Brown or any of these guys do anything, Texas is aware of the marketplace. They're at a head seat at the table, and I'm not hearing, well, we may not get guys that we want because we ain't got the money that we need. We have to conserve and retention. Right. These are just not things that I'm hearing.
So,
just real quick, I think, Chad, it's important. A lot of times, I think why do sources talk to guys like me in the media? One of the answers sometimes is kind of to control the narrative a little bit. If something's about to go bad, it's a lot better to warn everybody that things aren't about to go as well as you think they are than for everybody to think that happy days have arrived. And then we get to Monday and there's not one guy that Texas fans know. It's like, wait a minute, we got some guys, but none of these guys are ranked in the top 50 of the 24/7 top 50 list. What's up with that? And like, that's how hyper-focused Texas fans are. So if they were on the verge of doing something like that, I think we would already be hearing the whispers, and we're hearing the exact opposite on the eve of the portal opening up.
KD, thank you for that one. I also see this, which is about to become reality. Oscar, $4.99. The teams with first-round buys are going to be 0-6 or something like that. That's what it's about to be in about 2 minutes from when we're talking. It's a wild stat. Does Curt Cignetti break that streak later today? I think Ketch and I would disagree on the answer. I think he does, but Ketch, you're leaning Bama in the game, correct?
I am. Yeah, I think Alabama's going to win tonight or today.
Yeah, it is a wild streak, and I don't know if it's going to push anybody to add teams to the playoff, but God, that's what I hope happens. No matter what we could say about the NFL versus college, Ketch, there's never been an NFL team that's been asked to wait 25 days to play a playoff game. And that's what they're asking these teams to do. Is that why they're losing? I don't know. There's other factors, clearly. But if that number stays at a collar, if it goes 0-6, good God, if it goes 0-7, that means Indiana, a 1 seed, lost. But if it goes 0-8, we all know what that means. That means Kirby lost too. And if Ohio State and Kirby lose after the time off, you're going to hear some noise about what to do about it. It's so crazy.
We used to live in a world, and we used to see this all the time when Texas and USC played for the national championship. They had a really long layoff. Yep. So we're used to us being in a sport where the teams that play for the national championships oftentimes have to deal with this. What we haven't had to deal with, though, is the idea or the concept that in the same field and in the same tournament, that one team has to deal with this, whereas potentially the team that they'll face won't. And I don't know that there's a way to quantify what that means to be able to play in a little bit of a rhythm. But the early signs, based on the record of what looks like it's about to be 0-6,
yep.
I don't even need the higher seeds or the lower seeds. I always forget the best way to do that. I don't need the teams that have had the layoff to win tonight or lose to impact my thoughts on this. Like, we've got the sample size is built up enough that It's a thing. I don't know how to properly say this is how important it is, but it's a thing. It's a real thing. It keeps happening. It's happened enough that we shouldn't just ignore it out of pocket. I don't know what you do though. Really, I don't. Other than start this season a little bit earlier so that the playoffs can start a little bit earlier, and then these things are a little bit less problematic than they are currently. Where don't forget, even the teams that played last week have had 10 days. And that is uncomfortable, that you're not on a normal rhythm, that, you played on the weekend, but now you're playing after a week off. Now you're playing on Thursdays. Like it's a little, it's not perfect for anybody.
It's not. The focus does not need to be on time off though. The focus to me should be about what Miami just did. Every person that has spent their lives bitching about, we just need 2. Oh my God, I can't believe you're thinking about going to 4. They all need to apologize, and we need to add some teams. And Texas, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, and BYU all needed to be in this playoff. In addition to Miami, we need a real freaking playoff with enough teams. If last night didn't teach you what football can be in a playoff system, I can't help you. I cannot help you. If you think you know the number, the magic number, there's nobody above this number that's ever going to compete. Okay, fine. That should be the story right now, is what the Hurricanes just did. That should be changing everybody's mind and expanding this playoff to at least 16. That's where we need to. That's where we got to be heading. Got to be heading there.
Well,
all right.
We may be again in a year where the team that wins the national championship is a team that played on the first weekend.
Yes.
And again, if enough of those things happen,
right,
we'll build a sample size where we'll go, should we really be stopping at 12? Because
like Miami was the 10 seed, they're now the first double-digit seed to win a game in the CFP, and they just won 2. So, and Nick Saban says he thinks they can win it all. And at this point, if that defense looks like that and Carson Beck is the good version, who knows? Maybe they can.
Indiana's the 1 seed, and I think they're going out tonight. So it is a tournament right now that, Oregon. Well, all I know is that Oregon and Miami will be 2 of the semifinal teams. That's about all I know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. A couple other the $5 super chats, and then we will thank one of our good partners here. $5 from is that Daryl? Daryl? Yeah. $5. How much oil NIL money did it cost to put up a goose egg in the CFP? Big fail champion. Catch, Texas fans are really getting the CFP they needed after they didn't make it. The OU thing followed by the A&M thing, followed by not only Tech losing, but it looks like Tech's going to get goose egged. Oh my God. I
feel like everybody has had playoffs that aren't the worst case, right? So look, A&M lost and Oklahoma lost, but if you were going to tell any A&M or Oklahoma fans, hey, look, you're not going to win your first game. And you're like, oh, Jesus. But then you go, but hey, just so you know, none of the other teams that you really loathe and despise.
Right. Tech's going to get shut out and Ohio State will get beat. It's like, never stop.
And if you're an A&M fan, you can say in Oklahoma, they're losing too. Like you're not the only team that's going to lose at home.
Right. Exactly. You're not alone in that. And if
you're Oklahoma, you have the same thing. You don't have that indignity to share with somebody else. And Texas wasn't in it. And Texas Tech got goose egged, and everybody can look around and go, okay, at least I don't have anything to be too upset about.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Catch, this is happening to Texas Tech, and all of us old school fans love to get mad at him for it, but Dan Lanning's about to win a playoff game where he spit on 9 points. He spit on 3 separate field goals and even apologized for one of them, and then he just kept going for it. Because he's Dan Lanning and he's about to win 16-0 or maybe a little more. Maybe they put it in here for 23 or whatever. But yeah, he's about to advance playing that kind of ball and not taking field goals. But anyway, another $5 here from Jay Wags. With the wide receiver drop issues this year, is the Chris Jackson extension a surprise? That was an extension that had to be done though, right, Catch? I mean, if they're going to
he was out of contract, so he needed a contract.
Right, yeah. So
Jay Wags give the guy a 1-year deal. 2 years is pretty standard operating procedure. So Look, when Sark did show up at the press conference recently after the Will Muschamp hire and said, straight-faced, I don't anticipate any more staff changes. We all were like, okay, well, maybe not, maybe. And Chris Jackson was an obvious one, but Sark told us then he didn't expect a lot of change. And by the way, Oregon has scored a touchdown just because. Why the hell not?
Sure.
I don't think they care if Texas Tech has a hard memory over this in a few years.
No such thing. Not in a playoff game.
Shutout's a shutout. Keep them out if you're going to be in your feelings about it.
Yeah. Rule number one in playoffs, high school and above, no bitching about the score. If they beat you 73-0, walk off the field. I don't care how they did it. If they run a flea flicker to make it 73-0, shut up.
If they Buddy Ryan and Randall Cunningham it at the end of the game, it's a playoff game, and those are the rules, huh?
If it's a playoff game, no excuses. None. Dude, I don't want to hear one Texas Tech fan say a word.
I like cold-blooded and ruthless Chad, who's just
not
like
a word. Not a word. Drives me nuts when I hear that. Especially when you had a bye and you're the 4 seed. No, let them beat you 50-0 if they can. Whoever.
What else do we got?
All right. Let's see. We got one here. Another one from Trey, $4.99. Coleman starting X. Move Wingo to the slot in 11 personnel. He's much more consistent underneath. His strength and athleticism would maximize that position. Interesting idea.
If the answer is Coleman starting X, I will work with whatever else you want to do.
Yeah. Catch, do you think this – okay, I definitely can get the notion from you. I feel like I'm sensing it from some of the other OB guys as well, that you are all in on this Cam Coleman idea. If they feel like it's spend what you need to spend, you would tell them, hit the button, smash the button, do it. Correct?
This is Walter Nolan all over again.
Oh, see, you read my mind. I was about to ask you, is this them learning the Walter Nolan lesson?
Don't do that thing where a couple of years ago, Walter Nolan was about $1.5 million. And when the portal first opened, you knew what the cost was going to be, but you knew the guy's only in it for the money, even though he became a first-round draft pick. You know, you did all these things about he's not really your culture or anything. There will be more guys. And there was nobody else like Walter Nolan. Anybody who could even sniff a mountain of distance between the zip code that he's in to where they're at was asking for money near the ballpark of what Walter Nolan was getting. And it just turned into just go get Walter Nolan next time and quit dicking around.
Yep.
And there's nobody like Cam Coleman in this portal. He is a one-off. He's the first guy and only guy that's in this portal that I'm looking at and going, well, that guy's going to be a first-round pick in 2027. And he transforms any offense that he's on, period. It's just that simple. He instantly becomes the best skill guy that any team has that they're on. His draft status will eventually reveal that. And there's just like nobody else quite like that. And if you don't get him, and if you take a lesser version, you're getting a lesser player. You're not getting somebody who in maybe your final season with Arch Manning, who last night showed signs of being maybe a special quarterback. Give that guy special players to play with. Don't ask him to go play the Harlem Globetrotters with the Washington Generals and then be upset and judge him when he's not able to beat the Globetrotters because you didn't give him good enough players to even give him a chance.
All right, we got a couple of small super chats we'll get before we close up. Right now, let's hear from AV Consultations.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations. We've been providing custom electronic systems for Central Texas for more than 36 years. And
old man, I think they all know who you are and what your company does. This is Camilla McKay. The old man believes in big fun and big ideas. He can make dreams come true, so why not dream big? I've been up in Boston, but I know the old man and all his friends and fellow radio heads have been spreading the holiday spirit here in Texas. Why should we stop there? Keep spreading the good feelings all over. Audiovisual Consultations carries all major brands of television televisions, and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And you don't have to leave your house. Just like Santa, they deliver the gifts to you.
Yeah, I like that, kid. Throw a party, hang out with your friends, catch a concert.
That's all fun and good, but can we get back to the business? You can give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit our website at avconsultations.com for some cool electronics.
Oh, now you're forgetting something.
And as always, hug your kids. We only pretend to be annoyed. Watch some games with your friends and make love to whoever the hell you want.
All right, before we get back to super chats, S. Roan says, Chad, what about 77-0? S. Roan, you may be doing that as some sort of a joke, but let me tell you about 77-0. It was 77-0 with 1:59 to go in the third quarter. Do you know that 77-0 could have been a lot worse? Bob Stoops was nice to the Aggies that day. Bob Stoops asked a fullback to fall down or he would take his scholarship. At least that's what it felt like. It could have been 95-0 pretty easily in that game. 77-0, a little different story. But I've never bitched about 77-0. I wouldn't have cared. If they run it up to 100, Aggies would have deserved it. I'm never, ever going to bitch about somebody running up the score. But certainly not in a playoff game. That was far from a playoff game. But, yeah, I don't want to hear any griping from Texas Tech people because they just got beat 23-0. Come on now. All right, clean up the little ones here before we're done. 199. How many do you think Texas secures on day 1, 2, 3 from Sailor Joe? Ketch, let's just roll to the end of that question. By Sunday night, give me a number in your mind for how many Texas could have out of the portal. How quickly?
8 to 10. 8 to 10.
8 to 10 in the first 3 days. Okay.
By Sunday, yeah.
By Sunday, right? Okay.
Because whatever happens immediately, it's going to be a lot of shotgun marriages, and we will see visits that take place, and guys will have such a short window to make decisions now that going to a place first is a massive advantage. Not to say that nobody will take second visits, but we don't live in an era because of the timing of this where guys, unless they don't want to transfer at midterm, there's a lot that has to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah. All right. This one real quick from Justin. Marsh/Hines had more yards than Moore. 5-star overrated. Wait, who's Moore? Is he talking about
DeAndre Moore?
Than DeAndre. Oh, I guess.
Or
Okay.
what we got here? Marsh/Hines had more yards than Moore. 5-star overrated. It's talking about DeCorian Moore. It did today
because Marsh would have been Michigan.
Marsh didn't do anything. I mean, Marsh had the kick returns, but
it's okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far, Justin. Thank you for that one. One more here to clean up that I like. Buy or sell. Jonte Cook coming back to Texas? Just kidding. Not that we've heard. Not that we've heard. But Ketch and I might be willing to jump back on the fan club if certain things happen. But we're not hearing that that's happening at all. Before we head towards the exits, if you would like to celebrate Texas Tech getting shut out, Longhorn fans, do it with a nice steak. Go to Taste on Main. Tell them you want that steak Oscar style and celebrate the fact that the Red Raiders just got shut out in the playoffs. There's your QR code. Free parking right across the street from that beautiful location. Multiple bar areas, including the Treehouse Bar area out back. Don't forget Saturday and Sunday with the brunch. That's 10 to 3. Monday, they do the great lasagna that I've shown you, and they have great drinks. Try the Sam Elliott's mustache if you are into whiskey drinks. Tell them we said, hey, I know Travis and Tamara were happy about Arch Manning's performance because they are Longhorn through and through at Taste on Main. Tell them you heard about it here on Orange Bloods Live. We do appreciate their support. Catch anything else you want to hit today before we wrap?
I think tomorrow's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any last questions that you have? Like, just, anything missing at all?
I mean, honestly, the questions kind of got answered. I was going to ask you if you've heard any specific names for offensive linemen. You said you haven't really heard specific names yet, but I'm really interested in what does that collection look like? And the fact that you're telling me that the Cam Coleman thing may be strictly boiled down to a house-divided Longhorn Aggie battle, that's wild. That Cam Coleman is going to be added to one of those two offenses. Either Arch Manning and Texas get Cam Coleman, or Cam Coleman and Mario Craver are on the same team. Like, one of those two things is about to happen in the SEC. That's pretty wild. So that's where my eyes start. Offensive line's big, and then obviously I want to know where the running backs go and just how heavy Texas goes in that running back discussion as well. You want to get this one? $4.99 from Bates. What's the money that's too high for Coleman? Same for Ryan Williams. If Texas was in the 25 CFP, would Arch be the best quarterback in the CFP right now?
I mean, I thought he would have been the best quarterback in the CFP last week. The first round games, a lot of that had to do, though, with there was some really bad quarterback play.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to consider who he played. He didn't play a playoff team yesterday. He played a team.
Moore's still really good. I know that they didn't put up pinball numbers for Oregon, but he's really good. I mean, we're at a point now where there are still good quarterbacks left in the playoff. But for Arch, you even asked that question, I think speaks to what a different place we are with Arch.
Yeah.
It's funny. We go back to last year, the whole idea of should Arch have replaced Quinn. The whole point of like doing it then was the hope that eventually you would reap the rewards at the end, where you know what you're getting at the beginning of that stretch isn't probably as good as yours, but you're hoping that what you come out of it on the other side. If you play Arch earlier, if you give Arch that full run down the stretch last year, does he start this year much closer to the guy that he finished this season being much earlier in the season? What games does that make an impact in? God, it's hard to not think about Ohio State and if Arch was even a shade better than he was because he was so bad in that game. They probably win that game. I think they don't lose to Florida if you're getting the Arch Manning from last night. And the Georgia game is maybe its own conversation, and you can't give that much benefit of the doubt. But, yeah, man, it's just – I think I suppose there's no looking back. And I think one of the things, Chad, my last comment of the day might be this is still a season that is really easy for Texas fans to want to look back on and go, what if? What if? What if? What if?
Mm-hmm.
Over the span of the next 48 to 72 hours, we may see that they've taken some steps that the what ifs kind of end or at least in the backwards sense. And that the real conversation starts to become, what if all of these guys get together and they comes together and it stays healthy? Just because you add a bunch of badass pieces doesn't automatically mean that you're the best team.
Right.
But it does give you a platform and an opportunity to be that. And I think it really will give us some excitement going into the new year.
Yeah, give us some what now, what happens. All right, Catch. So to the first part of this, for Coleman, 2.75. Is that too much?
I don't know how to answer this question.
Okay. For Williams, for Coleman, guys like that, you've been talking about sort of a 2 neighborhood. If their agent went crazy and said it's $3 million, like that's too much, right?
I am not getting angry if Cam Coleman gets $3 million from anybody.
Okay. All right.
Ryan Williams, I don't know completely what to do with Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
He's coming off of a bad year, if we're just going to be call it what it was.
Yeah, he was not he did not have that Jeremiah Smith feel to. Jeremiah Smith was still Jeremiah Smith this year and still putting up those numbers. Ryan Williams just felt like he took a step back.
You just have to be careful that you're not spending Cam Coleman money on Ryan Williams because you didn't get Cam Coleman.
That's a good way to say it.
But I don't know that there's a price for me that's too high. I mean, if we get into like $10 million, okay. But in this range where the difference might be a couple of $100,000, I'm not quibbling. I told you though, Chad, I'm not the best person to talk about on this. I do have debt. I don't, I'm the type that will overspend to ensure that he gets the thing that he wants. But you're always robbing Peter to pay Paul somehow, some way when you do that. But I'm not letting. Well, we were disciplined. I'm not letting the participation award for most discipline in the portal keep me from getting a guy that might be the difference between winning the national championship next year and just being a team that's in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right, Catch. Since I know you're an expert on such things, I just want to let's end on this idea for Texas fans. It says, Catch, how about A&M, Oklahoma, and now Tech all out after one game? Texas wins. It's crazy. So, Catch, if a Texas fan has like the perfect tweet ready to go, ripping all three of those teams for losing, do they hit send or not?
Don't do it.
No?
No.
Okay.
It's a little bit like the guys that are the most badass fighters are always the ones that don't have to tell you. Just God forbid if they ever gets pushed to the point where they have to show somebody, they do show people.
Just let it go. You say let it go.
I think if you're a Texas fan and you've got all these people who are anticipating that you're going to give them the business and you don't, that weirdly hurts more. If you're the Tech fan goes into the office on Monday and he's bracing for the shit talk.
Oh, God.
And it's like, see who we got in the portal? Oh, because you don't want it, but you do too. It's the whole point of playing in games like that, and your rivals don't, is that you can bow up a little bit in those moments. And so if they're not going to bust your balls at all, boy, you did not accomplish what you hoped you would have accomplished ultimately.
It's true. And if you could hold off long enough for the Tech fan, A&M fan, or Oklahoma fan to come ask you about Cam Coleman, if you get him, that'd be the perfect version. You don't even say a word.
Yeah.
And then they come to you and talk about them.
You don't say a word. They just walk by your desk and just curse you out.
Yeah, exactly. Man, screw you, Cam Coleman. All you guys with the money and whatever, and you just don't say a word. Just don't say a word.
Maybe smoke a cigar while it's happening. You're just sitting there looking arrogant.
That's awesome.
Pinky in the air, just being arrogant.
Anything else today, Catch?
No, let's go watch some more football.
Let's do it. 30 minutes or so away from Bama and Indiana. The teams with the big buys are 0-6 now. Tech is out. Let's see if Indiana is going to be the next one to go out, and then Georgia and Ole Miss will go tonight. Thank you all for checking us out. We will be back tomorrow, 12 o'clock, live show as always, and the portal will be open. Good grief. We'll see what happens. Does Texas get Cam Coleman? Do they get one of those running backs? How many offensive linemen? Obviously, hit that QR code in the upper left. That gets you to orangebloods.com. Get signed up before the portal opens so you'll have all the information. Thank you guys for supporting us. Happy New Year, and we will talk to you tomorrow on Orange Bloods Live. See ya.